Your person has been calling out to the universe, quietly but consistently, asking for guidance and help when it comes to this connection. Deep in their heart, they yearn for a fresh start with you, one that allows for open communication, emotional vulnerability, and genuine intimacy. Yet alongside this desire is a struggle. They are also hoping to gain the strength and confidence to come forward and pursue that new beginning. This isn't just a passing wish. It's a deep, soul-level plea, a longing to be given just one more chance, one more moment in time where they can fully express everything they've buried for so long. They want the opportunity to show you how deeply they feel, how much emotion they've held onto, and how passionately they still care for you. Time has passed, possibly even months or years, and yet the intensity of what they feel hasn't faded. In fact, in some ways, it has grown stronger. No matter how far apart you've drifted or how long the silence has lasted, the love and passion they associate with you have remained steady. There's a fire between you that refuses to die out, a kind of soul recognition that keeps them tethered to the memory and energy of your connection. They don't understand it entirely, but they can't deny it either. Your presence is still felt, your absence still missed. They're also highly aware of how you've changed, and how you've grown stronger through the pain. They see you in what they interpret as a Queen of Swords energy, a powerful, wise, emotionally discerning version of yourself. You're someone who has learned to let go of people and situations that no longer align with your well-being. Even if the process was painful, even if it tore at your heart, you made the difficult decision to release what became toxic and exhausting. And unfortunately, at one point, that included them. This wasn't done out of coldness or cruelty, and they know that. You let go when the emotional toll became too heavy, when the cycle between the two of you began to drain your spirit. And they respect you for that. In fact, it's one of the reasons they see you as strong and deeply self-sufficient. You handle adversity with maturity, grace, and accountability. You never placed blame on others for the hardships you've faced, you took responsibility for your healing, your growth, and your future. That kind of strength is rare, and your person admires it more than they've ever expressed. Looking back, they recognize that they were, for a long time, caught up in a very materialistic way of living. Status, wealth, image, popularity, these things were their focus. They believed that these external markers of success would validate their identity and prove their worth. In many ways, they thought that being seen as successful or admired from the outside would define their masculinity or personal power. But this mindset left little room for emotional exploration. They didn't know how to acknowledge, let alone express, their feelings. Vulnerability wasn't just uncomfortable, it felt dangerous to them. But everything shifted when they met you. Something within them awakened. Their emotions, which had long been suppressed, began to rise to the surface. It didn't matter how hard they tried to control or ignore them, being connected to you triggered something profound. The soul-level bond you share created a mirror for them. For the first time, they were forced to confront parts of themselves they had buried beneath ambition and ego. You didn't just touch their heart, you illuminated it. Yet, even with that awakening, they remained trapped for a time in their old patterns and attachments. It's possible they stayed involved in a karmic relationship or situation driven by financial dependency or the fear of losing their carefully curated image. These external ties may have looked stable or successful on the outside, but they were emotionally hollow. Deep down, your person felt spiritually disconnected, even while surrounded by material comfort. The more they tried to hold on to that lifestyle, the more empty it felt. And you, through your love, your truth, and your departure, shed light on everything they were avoiding. You were the catalyst, even in your absence. Your strength forced them to evaluate their own. Your emotional depth revealed the lack in their world. Your spiritual insight made them question everything they thought they wanted. They now realize that the connection they had with you was never ordinary, it was soul deep, transformative, and sacred. And despite all their past confusion or mistakes, the connection still lingers. It still breathes within them. Now, they are hoping, praying, for a second chance. They are asking the universe not just for the opportunity to come back into your life, but for the courage to do it right. They want to return not as someone who is confused or emotionally unavailable, but as someone who is aware, awakened, and willing to show up fully. They long to express the love they once withheld. They hope to prove that even though they may have stumbled, the love they feel for you has never wavered. They don't know what the future holds, but they do know one thing: the connection they share with you is something they will never find again. And that truth haunts them every day. My divine feminine. Without you in my life, everything feels like darkness. It's as though a light I didn't even know I needed has been extinguished, and now I'm wandering through a world that no longer makes sense. I have to confess, there isn't a single day that passes without you invading my thoughts. Your memory lingers like a song I can't turn off, one that plays in the background of every waking moment and echoes through my dreams. So many emotions rush in all at once: grief, longing, love, frustration. Sometimes, I find myself blaming you for the intensity of what I feel. It's easier to blame you than to admit how deeply I've fallen, how vulnerable I've become. But if I'm honest with myself, and now with you, what I feel at the core is love. A love that's confusing, raw, powerful, and terrifying. I never imagined I could care for someone so deeply that it would shake the very foundation of who I thought I was. This loss of control is something I can't fully explain. I've always been able to manage my emotions, keep myself in check, keep people at a distance where they couldn't hurt me. But you broke through all of that without even trying. You got so close, closer than anyone has ever been, and now I can't stop thinking about you. No matter how much I try to disconnect, your presence pulls me back with a force I can't fight. There were times when I made the conscious decision to cut the cord, to walk away from our connection and return to what felt comfortable, what felt safe. I told you I was at peace. I said I had moved on. But I was lying, to you and to myself. I wore a mask of indifference, convincing myself that pretending not to care would make it true. But it never worked. Nothing I do seems to dull the ache that your absence creates. I don't understand why I can't get you out of my mind. I've told myself that this is temporary, that the feelings will fade. I've tried to rationalize that our connection was intense but fleeting, something that time would erase. Yet the more I resist, the more relentless it becomes. It's as if the universe refuses to let me forget you, and the more I try to push you away, the tighter this invisible thread pulls me back to you. From the beginning, I knew there was something extraordinary between us. Something sacred, something beyond explanation. And it scared me. What I felt for you was unlike anything I had ever felt before, deep, magnetic, undeniable. So, I ran. I ran as fast and as far as I could, because I knew that if I stayed, there would be no turning back. Loving you meant surrendering in a way I wasn't prepared for. It meant tearing down the walls I had spent years building. You got under my skin, into my heart, and into the parts of me I had long kept hidden. No one had ever reached those places before. No one had ever loved me the way you did, with such purity, with such transparency. I never knew love could be that sincere, that healing, that intense. And I didn't know how to handle it. Before you, I had control. I kept my emotions in check. I could numb, detach, distract myself into a sense of peace. but you shattered that illusion. You made me feel everything, every wound, every longing, every hope. You forced me to face the truth about myself, about what I want, about what I'm afraid of. You saw me in ways I didn't even see myself. That kind of intimacy, that kind of closeness, it's both beautiful and terrifying. And now, without you, I feel like I'm drifting. Nothing feels whole. Nothing feels right. I try to fill the void with distractions, with routines, with people who don't even come close to understanding me the way you did. But it's futile. The truth is, no matter how far I run, no matter how convincingly I pretend to be okay, you are always there, in my thoughts, in my heart, in the quiet moments when I can no longer lie to myself. I don't know where this path leads, or what's meant to come of what we shared. But I do know this, loving you has changed me. It has awakened something inside of me that I can never put back to sleep. You were more than a connection. You were a mirror, a flame, a sacred force that revealed a version of love I never thought possible. And no matter how far I go, no matter how much time passes, a part of me will always carry you. Always. It's been so long since we last talked that I feel as though I've been stranded in a desert, alone, lost, and searching for something familiar to hold on to. Every day without you feels like wandering through emptiness, under a scorching sun of isolation, with no shade of comfort in sight. I miss you deeply. The absence of your presence weighs heavily on me, and I find myself craving your voice, your warmth, your energy, everything that made life feel meaningful when you were close. More than anything else, I crave you. I crave the peace you brought to my storm. You were never just another person in my life, you were my entire world. You filled a void in me that I didn't even know existed. Where there was once loneliness and confusion, you offered love, care, compassion, and understanding. You embraced my flaws, my insecurities, and even the parts of me I had trouble facing myself. You gave me more than comfort, you gave me hope, and in many ways, you gave me back to myself. You became my strength when I was at my weakest. During the darkest phases of my life, when everything seemed to fall apart and when the people I once counted on disappeared without a trace, it was you who stood beside me. You didn't walk away. You didn't hesitate. You stayed, and that meant everything to me. Even in my silence, you could hear my pain. Even in my chaos, you brought calm. No one has ever loved me the way you did, and I'm not sure anyone ever will. You saw through me, past the walls I built, into the core of who I am. You loved me not because I was perfect, but because you understood me in a way no one else ever has. You gave and gave, not because you had to, but because you chose to. Your presence brought light into my shadows. You held my hand when I was drowning, and for that, I owe you more than words could ever express. But here I am, weighed down by guilt, because in return for your love, all I gave you was pain. I let you suffer. I deceived you. I rejected the very love I longed for. And though I always intended to love you more than anyone else ever could, and I truly still do, I failed to show it in the ways you deserved. I failed to be present, to be expressive, to make you feel as valued as you made me feel. Somewhere along the way, my fear, my wounds, and my emotional immaturity got the better of me. Looking back now, I see how selfishly I behaved, how often I took your love for granted. You were so patient, so kind, so mature in how you handled me, even when I didn't make it easy. You carried my emotional weight, even when it became too heavy. You gave without expecting anything in return. And all the while, I was so consumed by my own fears and insecurities that I couldn't see how much it was costing you. This connection, this bond we shared, has taught me so much. It has opened my eyes to the importance of balance, of reciprocity, of emotional honesty. It taught me that love isn't just about receiving warmth but also about giving it, nurturing it, and protecting it. You modeled what true compassion looks like. You handled me with such care, even when I was rough around the edges. You saw something in me that I had long forgotten, and you believed in it even when I didn't. You are truly incredible. Your love was not just a fleeting feeling, it was a force. And though I may have failed you in many ways, please know that your love changed me. It shaped me. It challenged me to grow. I now understand the value of what we had, and I carry that with me every single day. Not a moment goes by without me wishing I could go back in time and hold on tighter, speak a little softer, love you a little louder. I don't know what the future holds for us, but I do know this: you are unforgettable. You've left an imprint on my soul that time cannot erase. And though I may have failed to show it when it mattered most, please believe me when I say that I loved you then, I love you still, and a part of me always will. Your love was a gift, and even if I didn't unwrap it properly, it will remain the most precious thing I've ever received. I'm sorry for the pain I caused. I'm sorry for the times I shut you out when you only wanted to be let in. I'm sorry for making you feel unwanted when all you ever did was love me. Thank you for your strength, your patience, your unwavering support. Thank you for staying when you could have walked away. Thank you for being you. And if nothing else, I hope you know this: you mattered more than words can say. You were never just a chapter in my story, you were the turning point. And I'll carry you with me, always.